So setting career goals is a subject that I've found to be dear to many people's hearts. I'm sure we're all aware of the annual personal development review, where you write down your performance objectives and they align very much to a business or organisational goal. And sometimes that goal doesn't actually feel very aligned to you as a person, but you have to do them nonetheless. That's fine, but also it's worth considering what are your career goals and actually looking at what makes you happy in your career, what strengths and weaknesses you have, and really thinking about what are your next steps forward, perhaps sideways. Is it staying in the organisation, leaving an organisation? So what I'm saying is that in addition to the performance goals you may have in a company, what about your career goals? Perhaps you felt like this: I'm not sure where my career is going overall. I'm not sure how my current role fits in with where I see myself as a person. I feel frustrated. I don't know what my next step is. Now, some of those questions and many others may be ones that you want to discuss with your line manager, and you may feel comfortable doing so, but actually sometimes those are areas that you might think, well, do I need to change my job, change my career? And those might be the areas that you want to look at yourself personally, possibly with the help of a third party. If you'd like a specific set of questions that you can safely discuss with your line manager, then please contact me and I'm happy to share with you some of the experiences and questions that I've had before with previous clients. But actually what I'd like to do now is just cover some of the tools that may help you yourself identify where you are in your career and where you want to get to. So here are some questions you may wish to ask yourself. Start with the big picture. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Now, if that's too big for you, where do you see yourself in 1 or 2 years' time? And if so, what does that tell you about your current role? What does that tell you about the industry that you're in? What does it tell you about the team you're in or the organisation you're in? Does this all fit in with the bigger picture you have for your career? Having considered some of these questions to start to give you some brief insights, let's look at doing a SWOT analysis. I'm sure you may have come across these tools before, but it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So strengths and weaknesses are very personal to you. They are factors that are inside of you. For example, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Very straightforward. Opportunities and threats are very much external to you, so they could be opportunities with other companies, other industries. They could be threats from other candidates seeking a particular role, or threats that are going on in the environment. But they are really, a SWOT analysis is a really good place to start to really break down what you have in your toolkit already and what else you may need to work on. So I haven't got time to cover it today, but there is also another tool called the career wheel. Now, you may have heard of the life wheel, but this is very similar. This is where you break down your career into a circle and devise different segments for what's important to you in your career, and you grade them. So basically, if, for example, recognition is important to you, that's one of the segments. If teamwork is important to you, that's one of the segments. If work-life balance is important to you, that is one of the segments. When you've got your 8 segments, you can then look at, well, where am I in those different segments? 0 being not doing very well, not particularly happy or fulfilled, to 10 being, actually, I'm really quite happy in this particular aspect of my career. Now, the career wheel is going to be different for everybody. So again, feel free to contact me and I'm happy to share that tool with you, but it gives you a really good map for where you are in your career. Okay, so let's start to look at the ideal role for you. What I'd encourage you to do is get some paper and start writing this down. Sometimes it's better just to get the thoughts out of our mind and onto paper so we can see them objectively in front of us. Think about your ideal role and really don't set any boundaries. What is your ideal role? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Where are you? Who are you with? What kind of activities are you doing? And write all that down. You can try this a few times and see what comes up for you. The key thing is to be relaxed and enjoy this particular exercise. And then if you can, think about, well, given what I know now, where do I think I see myself in 5 years? Or if that's too far ahead, 2 years, or even so 1 year, 6 months. And then you can start to break down the career wheel and your vision into goals that you can realistically achieve within a certain time frame. There's a really good quote from Stephen Covey. Most people spend their whole lives climbing the ladder of success only to realise when they get to the top, the ladder has been leaning against the wrong wall. I wanted to bring that quote in because very often when I work with clients and we work through some of the exercises I've outlined today, they can feel a little bit disappointed and disenfranchised with their success so far or the choices that they've made. This is not about being hard on yourself. Life, I'm afraid to say, is a series of twists and turns, and sometimes we want different things at different stages in our lives, and there's nothing wrong with course correcting and reviewing where you are now and how your goals may well have changed. What I always encourage my clients to do is regularly track their goals, because in that way you can tweak where you're going and where you want to go depending on what's been happening to you recently and where you see yourself in a few years' time. So there's some really important questions you can ask yourself when you're reflecting on your goals. How well do you feel you're doing against your goals on a scale from 0 to 10? What else do you need to learn in order to reach your goals? How true are these goals to who you are now and the life you're living now? And how motivated are these goals to you? If you're not motivated, then it's time maybe to reflect and change what you're aiming towards. So I've briefly outlined what is a huge subject in terms of career goals and career management. And I've been through many of these activities myself and some of these changes myself. I've set up 2 businesses, I've dealt with promotions, major organisational changes, you name it. I've probably dealt with many of the career issues I've coached my clients on. So visit www.sarah-j.com to find out how you can course correct and start to set meaningful goals for your career development.